when you're going for an inside trip and the hand slides down to the butt, they're like, oh, the hand, you assisted in grabbing is below the belt, penalty, right? Yeah. Or if you're doing like someone's doing a throw and then you like block, the leg, just like, oh, that's a penalty, and it kind of got a little bit crazy. So now they're like, all right, let's just allow that, So like these things that people really, really complained about. And then it was very tricky to see, like, hey, did he bridge off his head? Did he dive over his head? Did the hair brush the floor? Or did he use his head to actually finish the score? Because when your hands are tied up and you're throwing the guy, if you let go of the hand to post, you don't have control anymore. So they'll hold on to the gi, and in the very last minute, they'll bridge onto their forehead and then drive using their legs and arms. And they didn't want people doing that anymore, right? Hello everyone, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. Today, IJF rule set. Huge deal. It's kind of official now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
you're on the ground with a bunch of people that are like probably very familiar with the new rules and how they came up with these rules, right?
So, yes, I was at the Tokyo Grand Slam just recently. And then a week later, they had this technical meeting. They call it a technical meeting in Istanbul, in Turkey. Between December 14th and 15th. And that's when all the new rules were going to be public. So there was a lot of murmurs a week leading up to it.
Yeah.
And we all know the result of that. Right?
Now we do.
We do. No leg grabs, really. But one week before, all the top dogs were like, there's going to be leg grabs. There's going to be leg grabs.
Yeah, with the Tokyo, the Kodokan was trying it out, right?
Yeah. But then the rules come out, no leg grabs.
Yeah.
So, but this is my personal opinion that no one really said this yet, but I think that they're going to ease that in there. Because there were...
From now on?
Not yet.
Like, the new iterations or like within the current rule set?
Well, no, so the new iteration's solid. It's here until the World Championships in June. And they mentioned that from now until June, the first event being Paris Grand Slam, it always is, right, in February.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. Usually that's the event that has the newest rule sets always. Right, every quad or so.
Yeah.
But every year they kind of, little by little, adapt and change. So up until the point of the Senior World Championships, they're going to keep explaining stuff. Things are going to make sense little by little. And then I feel after the Senior World Championships, they're going to introduce more leg grabs. That's my personal guess. That's no one's opinion. No one has said this to me. That's going to be my guess.
Prediction.
My personal prediction. Because how can all the top dogs tell me, oh, they're going to be leg grabs. And then the rules come out. There's no leg grabs.
I do like this kind of methodical, like careful approach though.
Yeah.
Because it's a big change, and then... You do want to test it and in a more manageable way.
Yeah. So do you want to start off with the leg grab stuff before we move on to the other ones, or do we want to knock off?
Yeah, let's just go through the small
list?
ones first.
Okay.
So Yuko's back.
Yes.
Yeah.
It says
what's happened?
Yuko, which is a much smaller score. Usually there's Waza and Nippon now, but Yuko's not a cumulative score; it's a smaller score. They got rid of it, but now they're bringing it back. And on the IJF website, it says, hey, addition of a third score Yuko. In Newaza, it'll be given at 5 seconds, but it's not very clear. But if you watch the video of the actual rules seminar, they say, yes, you could score with throws, Yuko throws. Yeah. And the criteria is not quite 90 degrees, but a little bit more on the front.
Right.
Closer to 90 degrees. Yeah.
Waza will be for bigger throws.
Yes, So you can watch the technical video on judotv.com. It's out there. So you could use discount code Shintaro. As always, sign up for a Judo TV account and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, brief thought on why they brought it back.
Yuko?
Yeah, Yuko.
I don't know, man. I mean, because I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe it's just, my take is that Waza became too watered down, maybe.
Maybe.
And I
think there's a lot of scores that are almost scores, that don't get scored, and then all of a sudden, like, the guy gets taken down 3 times, like, on their stomach, and then all of a sudden, the other guy catches the guy for a small score, and now he wins or something like that, so...
Right.
Maybe. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, that's Yuko.
So I think there's some grip, head bombing is okay.
Yeah, well,
like it will be penalized with Shido. It's not as penalized as heavily.
Dude, they kind of completely went the opposite way. If your head touches the floor, you're out. That was their number one thing.
Yeah.
But that rule was so strict, and everyone complained about it in the beginning. But if you watch the Tokyo Grand Slam, which I did, I was there for commentating, people didn't do it.
I mean, yeah.
The rules really started shaping the way judo looks, and it looked a lot safer because people aren't diving forward, doing somersaults off of sodes and things like that because they don't want to get penalized. And now I feel like it was settled in, and then they're changing this. I'm a little bit against this because it's a safety issue, and I'm a big fan of like how IJF is very aware of safety, you know?
And then the interesting thing is they will still penalize it in cadet events.
Yeah, they should. Yeah.
Maybe they have some data. They're very data driven, right? Yeah. Maybe they saw more of the danger in the cadet level.
Potentially.
Not as much. Yeah, and, we'll see. Yeah.
But the issue was they would do sode, and then the guy's hair would brush the floor, and we would get penalized and be out.
Yeah.
So, like, these things that people really, really complained about, and then it was very tricky to see, like, hey, did he bridge off his head? Did he dive over his head? Did the hair brush the floor? Or did he use his head to actually finish the score? Because when your hands are tied up and you're throwing the guy, if you let go of the hand to post, you don't have control anymore. So they'll hold on to the gi, and in the very last minute, they'll bridge onto their forehead and then drive using their legs and arms. And they didn't want people doing that anymore, right? So, like, all these things have been kind of, it was just too tricky to say, like, what's what. So I think they just kind of went with, you know what? It's fine. You could use your head to fucking, do everything you want.
Yeah. So, all right. And then, so other than that, Korean serenage is now allowed again. Yeah, that's Korean what I heard.
Allowed,
yeah. So, other than that, I think those are the minor stuff. I think let's go to the leg reps.
Yeah.
Right. And did I miss anything?
No, I mean, there's a bunch.
Bear hug.
All gi grips are allowed now.
Like pistol's fine.
That's what they say. You know.
Oh, okay.
All jacket grips.
That's pretty. All jacket
and
grips.
And gripping under the belt to the level of the top inner thigh are allowed. So what was happening?
That's a leg rep thing. I thought you could now like do like a maybe like a little like a knee tap kind of thing. Maybe
I don't think you could do that. I don't think you could do that yet. But their biggest thing when they were talking about leg touching is that when you're going for an inside trip and the hand slides down to the butt, they're like, the hand, you assisted in grabbing is below the belt, penalty, right? Yeah. Or if you're doing like someone's doing a throw and then you like block, the leg just like, that's a penalty, and it kind of got a little bit crazy. So now they're like, all right, let's just allow that,
I see.
Yeah, and then they denoted like where the leg begins, right? So it's the inner thigh, the inseam. You know where they measure the jeans and the inseam?
Yeah.
That's where the legs begin. So above that, essentially you could touch the butt now.
I see.
Whether this means like you could do a teguruma.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. The way I interpreted was that you could do a teguruma. And
So they're working on the interpretation. They kind of throw these out there, and then they discuss it, and then after every competition, they'll have a meeting. Before the competition, they have a meeting. So they're going to really sort of refine these things, and I think this is their way into, okay, little by little now we can kind of start going above the knee. That's my guess, but that's purely my guess,
Right.
So as of right now, though, you can't just grab a leg and take him down, which is kind of sad.
I see. So this is more to prevent cases that the controversial cases where like the hand slips down and then people get penalized for it. I see.
And now also another one is kumikata would be given 30 seconds time for an attack. I don't really know what that means. I didn't actually watch the video yet. So I'm gonna have to kind of get back to you on that. This guy Brian Toth, he's an international IJF World Tour referee. He's an American. So I'm going to have him on the podcast and really kind of deep dive into it.
I mean, he'll be the best person.
He was there. And when they were talking about the leg portion of it, they demonstrated it on him. So he really knows what he's talking about.
I see.
Yeah.
And then the bear hug.
They don't want people clasping the hands behind the back because it puts a lot of pressure on the spine, they think. Before, if you had one grip behind the back, you could dive and grab it with the other hand. You just couldn't dive with both hands behind the back.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know why they introduced this one. I don't know why. I'm always baffled by it.
Yeah, this is a question for Brian.
Yeah, question for Brian. Yeah. Unintentionally leaving the contest area, and Newaza will be given mate, which means nothing to me. But they did tell me before this whole thing was released that they're going to really, really reconsider all the stepping out of bounds stuff, because previously, up until this recent tournament, it's unclear.
Like, what does it mean to? What it means to...
So the stepping out of bounds and out of bounds, inbounds, it's always sort of been this gray area, right? If you look at wrestling, they did this.
Yeah.
They did this in a way where it's like, all right.
Oh, you lose a point, right? Or
well, now you can't... If you step outside of the ring, you're done. It's like sumo. It's clear as night and day. Whether I push you out of bounds or you step out of bounds, it doesn't matter. If you touch the space outside the line, that's it. You lose a point. The other guy gets a point.
Yeah, right.
It's called the push-out rule now.
Yeah.
So they solved that. Sumo has solved it, obviously. It's very clean. But in judo, it wasn't clean. Because if you float out of bounds, it's your penalty. But if I physically push you out of bounds, it's my penalty. But if I'm attacking you out of bounds, it's okay. But if I'm pushing you out of bounds, but you do an attack, that's fine. So it was very gray area. Unless you egregiously step out and walk off the mat.
Right.
It was kind of up to interpretation. So I think this is their new way of being like, all right, let's really, really clean this thing up. But based on the press release, the textual...
Yeah, it's very brief.
It's not clear.
Yeah. It's terse.
I'm going to watch the video, and then I'm going to give you guys a detail. I should have watched it before, but I was just too busy,
And then Kansetsu Waza apply while performing throws with high injury risks will be penalized with Hansokumake, where Uke cannot escape.
Yeah.
I wonder what the...
Well, so the number one thing right now, right?
Yeah.
Is when the person goes into sode, and then they slam into the back of their elbow, and then they extend their elbow.
Right?
Yeah. Guys will go down screaming, ah!
Yeah.
And then the other guy gets a penalty, or Hatsukumake, and then he gets up, bows, and then, jumps up and down in joy, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, this is kind of ridiculous, so they really wanted to reconsider that. Obviously, you could do a wakigatami and then slam your hips into the guy's elbow and take him down, and that's always been a penalty, right? Because you don't give him the opportunity to tap. But they're really sort of looking over this, sode into the elbow thing. Right? Because you can't stop it. If the arm is extended, you slam it into the back of their elbow. So I think that's what it has to do with. So
they're being more careful to delineate between what's escapable, what's not, and then what's not escapable, Hansokumake it is now, and then what's escapable, it's gonna be a mate or shiro.
Yes.
I see.
And then the positive activity in Newaza will be taken into consideration. That's for penalties, for stalling penalties.
Oh, I see. I was like, it's not about the Newaza clock. It's about the...
Yes. So if you're not attacking at all on the feet, but very aggressively trying to turn the person consistently, right?
You get a passivity,
But you're not going to get passivity anymore because they're going to take into consideration your offensiveness on the ground.
Oh, now, I think this is a positive change. I think it'll encourage more action in the ground because
we covered all of it already. And then, like you said, Korean Seinagi is allowed. That's really cool.
Except in cadet events. I think so. It seems like they saw all this dangerous, head to, using the head or Korean Seiwei. Maybe they thought after all this experimentation, they realized that it's more dangerous to the cadets.
Of course, yeah. But you look at the senior competition, people getting injured all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Getting mangled.
So maybe they're like, they're like, oh, you're doing it as your job, so it's a necessary risk. I don't know. Yeah, it's just I kind of stopped doing Korean Seiwei anyway. It's really dangerous.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know how judo is going to look after all these rules are implemented. This kumikata will be given 30 seconds time for an attack stuff. I like people will get 5 shidos and out.
Oh.
Because 4 shidos, 2 versus 2, and then you get a fifth one on the board, one person getting DQ'd.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see two guys not actually engaging so much. I'd rather see those guys penalized out in under a minute and off the mat than sitting through a 7-8 minute match where they're just not doing anything. I'd much rather them just get, all right, you guys aren't willing to do it? All right, get out of here, you know? And it's good because it forces the action and then it's much more easy for people to watch.
Yeah.
Right? And then people like complain, oh, Shido this, Shido that. Yeah, but if you're not giving out penalties, then they're not going to engage. You know?
I think that's the... Yeah, like I understand people... When people complain about there's so many Shidos, I mean, of course, who doesn't want to see a eight-bone match, you know?
But it needs to be fast-paced.
In any combat sport, passive, you know, it's the battle in every combat sport, like combating people's passivity. I mean, because that's a legit strategy. That's like one of the most, you know, risk-averse, like... strategies like boxing, you know, all that, but they have they like hog it out and stuff, and then you have to constantly, I don't know, it's just okay. I get that. As
of right now, man, I don't know if these are gonna be overall a net positive. I don't know yet. I really don't. You know, and I think some of these can affect it in a negative way. Truthfully, you know, but such as okay, 30 seconds for. Right? Kumikata. Yeah. And now all of a sudden they're doing the Korean Seanagi. But if you're going against the joint, okay? So now you have two new rules that are going to kind of semi-conflict with each other. Because you're talking about two hands on one arm, etc., right? But if you're doing Korean Seanagi with two hands on the lapel but cranking into the elbow, and the guy goes out screaming, you know what I mean? That's going to kind of make it a little bit tricky. And you're going to get drop and flopper guys. Guys are going to do shitty drops, or stalling. But then there's a couple of good maneuvers on the ground who aren't going to get penalized, which is going to drag out the match even more.
Right? I think this is why I like the approach the IJF takes, where they have this cycle and they introduce new, more bigger changes in the beginning and slowly kind of test it out.
Yes.
And as you get to the, you know, keynote events.
Yep.
You know,
and they are no dummies, man. They are very, very, very capable. And everyone's so quick to judge them. And yes, they give me money to be a commentator. You know, and I know all these guys now. And, you know, there are some biases, right? Me as a human being, I know all these people. But, you know, I think
I'll say this. Yeah. As a AI researcher, right?
Yeah.
It's, a lot of times these things are so complex that, like you said, it's really hard to predict the output.
Yeah.
Right? So the only way to really is to try. And then I applaud the IJF to really make changes in a systematic way and then try it out and then change when things don't work out. I think that's the most important thing, because the judo is so complex now. It's really hard to you know, like change the rules and then like expect the get the out. There's so many unintended consequences, so you just have to try it out like in small steps.
It's true.
And
and Budapest World Championships, it's going to be in June, and I'll probably be commentating at that. And then that's when this specific rule set ends, and then I think they're going to bring back leg grabs after that. But that's just my own personal prediction, you know. So maybe we'll title this episode "Leg Grabs Aren't Dead," and that it's very baity, you know.
Leg grabs aren't dead. I'll do that. You know what? Let me write that down.
Leg grabs aren't dead. It's a personal prediction. No one told me this, you know, because I haven't spoken to anyone that was there yet, and I will. I'm going to talk to Brian Toth.
Yeah.
And he's a very knowledgeable guy. He was at the Tokyo Grand Slam with me, and he was refereeing, and I had a nice chance to have a couple of chats with him Matt side. And it's always nice to have another American on the circuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's good to see. And I think there's this is kind of a side point. I think there was a guy from America. I think he might be a teenager, cadet level. He was like nominated for like a award or something.
Yang?
Yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah. He's amazing. Yeah. His dad's cool. You know.
You know, good.
Yeah, I know. He's won the World Cadets, took fifth at Junior Worlds, I think. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And he was at the Tokyo Grand Slam.
Oh, okay.
I think he won a match. I think.
Oh man,
he's awesome, man. He's awesome. He's there's footage of him training at the Tokyo Grand Slam camp, the training camp. That is the room to train in.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And there's videos surfacing Mural versus I think it was Maisuradze. It was like an Olympic finals, and they're just training at the Kodokan together. Because I used to train at those. So cool. You go for the Tokyo Grand Slam and you stay for the camp.
Yeah.
And then it's amazing because every person who competed at the Tokyo Grand Slam is in that room, right? And the high school kids, right? The university kids, all the Japanese like top level guys that they want to bring up through the system.
Yeah.
And you see like high school nobodies from Japan who are like top 5, top 10 in Japan that no one's ever heard of, like throwing Olympians, high level Olympians. It's really, really incredible. Yeah.
The level is that room.
So, but he was out there, and there's footage of him going against Olympic champs and stuff, and a lot of historically you see some of these Americans who are on the circuit that aren't very good. They're avoiding the top guys. They're trying not to make eye contact with the big dogs to not take a beating, right?
Yeah.
But Yang was out there, battling with the best of the best, which is a really good sign
for LA.
For him, for LA. Yeah. So him, Yanetsuka, definitely excited. Things happening here. We'll see if USA Judo can pull together in a time of need and kind of put their best foot forward. But it's time to thank our sponsors now. Drew, Jason, Levon, thank you very much. Judo TV, of course. Use discount code Shintaro, Higashi brand. If you run a business, there's churn.
Whether you're building a startup, growing a mom and pop shop, or operating a Fortune 500 powerhouse, or Judo Dojo.
That's right. Hakuin.com.ai.
So measures, predicts, and improves your customer retention. Link in description. Thanks, Drew, again.
We should have Drew on because he works in tech also. He's a smart guy. He's a judo black belt.
We could have like now that we're like kind of dabbling into tech too. I guess. We can. We should have him on. Yeah.
Asian nerds do judo should be the name of our podcast now.
That's right.
Nerdy Asians grapple and do stuff. Talk about.
Like I said, and there's a lot of Asian nerds doing BJJ now.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. All right.
And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Japan taking off.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah.
I did a seminar over there.
Yeah, seminar. Was it a BJJ? Oh yeah, the Carpe Diem, whatever.
Carpe Diem in Nahan, in Okinawa. They were all Americans though that were there.
Oh, Okinawa.
Yeah.
Oh, you flew to Okinawa too?
Yeah, flew to Okinawa, did a seminar down there, and then we got to talk about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu circuit in Japan and how it's one of the fastest growing things. You should.
You should have a dedicated episode about that.
It was really cool, man. There was a few Japanese guys that took the seminar who were like late 30s, never grappled. It looked like the average jiu-jitsu guy here. And it was like, wow, this is a whole new demographic for the Japanese community to grapple, because these guys who weren't doing judo, they didn't do it. I'm sure they did it in high school and stuff, but that's it. Never really.
I see.
They love it now, so.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
We should talk about that
for sure.
All right. Cool. Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.